She stood alone, holding her daughter's ashes in her hands. No one was there with her. No family, no friends, and not even her husband. Just her, dressed in black, with the small white urn that held what was left of her little girl. Her husband had told her he couldn't come. He said he had to fly to Dubai for a once-in-a-lifetime business deal. He claimed it was too important to miss, that it would change their future. She believed him, even though something inside her felt wrong. She wanted to believe he was hurting too, that he just didn't know how to show it. Later that night, she opened Instagram. She wasn't searching for anything, just trying to feel numb. As she scrolled, a picture stopped her. He was on a yacht, laughing, holding a drink, with strangers around him. There was no meeting, no sadness. Just sun, smiles, and a woman much too close to him. Her hands began to shake. Her heart, already broken, felt like it was being shattered all over again. Feeling sick, she opened his old emails on their shared laptop. She didn't know what she was looking for. Maybe some sign that things weren't always this cold. But what she found was worse. There were emails between him and a woman she didn't recognize. Not a coworker, a mistress. The woman had sent selfies. He had sent her flight details. But the part that made her blood freeze was a single sentence in one message. I wish she'd just let go already. He was talking about their daughter. She read it again and again, unable to believe it. But it was there in his own words. He had known their daughter was dying. He knew how sick she was getting. And still, he had left. Not because of work. Not because of any deal. But because he wanted to be gone. Away from her. Away from their child. Away from the pain. He had missed the funeral on purpose. He had chosen sunshine over sorrow. A yacht over his dying child. That night, she sat on the floor beside the urn. She didn't cry. There were no tears left. Only a deep, heavy silence pressing against her chest. Her husband wasn't grieving. He was celebrating. And in that moment, something inside her changed. Something cold and sharp and clear. He had made his choice. He thought he could walk away from this. But she had nothing left to lose. And he had everything. At least for now. The house had felt heavy for weeks before her daughter died. She didn't notice it at first. Grief has a way of blurring memories. But after the funeral, little moments started coming back to her. They didn't feel right anymore. Her husband had been pulling away. Not in big ways. Just small things. He started missing doctor's appointments. When she reminded him, he'd say he forgot or that he had a meeting. He stopped picking up medicine, even when she clearly asked him. When their daughter cried at night, he didn't wake up or even check. He acted like everything was fine, like she was just tired or going through a phase. He kept saying she'd get better soon, even when the signs were clear that something was wrong. At first, she told herself he was just stressed. Work had been busy. He wasn't sleeping well. But now she saw it differently. Looking back, his calm felt cold. His excuses felt planned. One night, unable to sleep, she opened his laptop again. She hadn't planned to. It was just sitting there, glowing faintly. She tapped the keys and opened his email. She didn't expect to find anything new, but something told her to keep looking. That's when she found the thread. It was between him and the same woman from the photos. There were messages going back weeks. He didn't hide much. The tone was casual, almost careless. They talked about meeting, about money, about their future. And then, in the middle of it all, a sentence stopped her cold. I wish she'd just let go already. She stared at it. Her eyes didn't move. Her chest felt tight. Her hands turned cold. He wasn't talking about her. He was talking about their daughter. And he had said it with no shame, no sadness. Just like it was a small inconvenience. She read the message again and again, hoping she misunderstood. But the rest of the conversation made it clear. He was tired of waiting. He was ready to move on. He didn't want to be there for the hard part. He wanted freedom, and he was getting it. In that moment, something inside her shifted. She thought she was dealing with a man who didn't care. But this was worse. This wasn't just him being distant or tired. This wasn't a mistake. This was a choice. He had chosen to step away. He had chosen not to help. He had chosen to leave her alone with the pain, the worry, the late nights, and the fear. All while pretending to be a father. She closed the laptop slowly. Her heart was racing. Her thoughts were sharp now, not soft like before. It wasn't neglect. It wasn't confusion. He had done this on purpose. He hadn't just given up on their daughter. He had planned his escape, and she had just uncovered the first piece of it. She was going through some files one afternoon when she found a thick envelope in the back of a drawer. It had her husband's handwriting on it. She opened it without thinking much, expecting old bills or papers from work. But what she found made her freeze. Inside was a life insurance policy. It had their daughter's name on it. The amount was large, $250,000. Her hands started to shake as she read. The policy had been updated 3 months before her daughter got sick. Her heart sank. She kept reading, hoping there was a good reason. Maybe it was just something her husband had done to be careful. Maybe it was something normal that parents do. But something didn't feel right. The timing was strange. Why update the insurance right before the illness started? And why didn't she remember signing anything? She checked the signature line. Her name was there, written in her handwriting, but it didn't feel like hers. It looked close, but not exactly right. She was careful with her name. She always signed things the same way. This one looked slightly off. She stared at it for a long time. Later, she took the paper to a specialist. She didn't want to believe what she was thinking. She wanted someone to tell her it was just her imagination. But after examining the paper, the expert looked at her and said, "This signature was forged." Her stomach turned. She couldn't breathe for a second. He had signed her name. He had gone behind her back. He had taken out a huge insurance policy on their child, without her real permission, and then acted like nothing had happened. She thought about everything again. The way he had been so calm during the sickness. The way he left. The way he seemed ready to move on so fast. It all began to make sense now, in a way she didn't want it to. He didn't just leave when things got hard. He had a plan. He had prepared for this. The insurance money wasn't meant to protect the family. It was for him. It was part of a bigger plan she hadn't seen until now. He made sure the papers were in place. He made sure the amount was big enough. And he had done it quietly, hoping she would never find out. She sat alone with the document in her hand, the truth sinking in. He had made money part of their daughter's story. He had turned her illness into a way out. A way to escape. A way to start a new life without them. And he had done it while pretending to be a husband, pretending to be a father. She folded the paper and placed it on the table. Her hands were steady now. Her mind was clear. He thought no one would ever notice. But she had. And now, everything had changed. She had a name now. The woman from the emails. The woman from the yacht photos. She looked her up online and found her quickly. Her profile was public. There were pictures of her traveling, eating at expensive places, posing in hotels, and smiling in designer clothes. She looked young, full of energy, and completely unaware. The wife stared at the screen. This was the person her husband had chosen while their daughter was sick. This was the person he flew across the world to be with while she sat beside a hospital bed. She didn't act right away. She waited. She watched the woman's stories and posts for a few days. Everything seemed like a show. Happy selfies, vacation videos, drinks on balconies. Not a single post showed any sadness, any clue that the man she was with had just lost a child. One evening, the wife finally sent a message. It was short, just a few screenshots, the life insurance papers, the yacht photo, and one of the emails he had sent. She didn't say anything, just the images. At first, there was no reply. A few hours later, the woman went silent online. Her stories disappeared. Her posts stopped. The next day, a message came back. It was longer than expected. The mistress wrote, "He told me his daughter was in a coma for months. He said she died peacefully. He said you were an addict, that you had breakdowns, that you couldn't be trusted." The wife read the words slowly. Her eyes didn't move for a while. Then she laughed. Not because it was funny, because something inside her snapped. An addict. That's what he told her. That she was the problem. That she was unstable. That she was not only weak, but dangerous. And he had said it so calmly, so confidently, that this woman had believed every word. He had created a whole new version of the story. In his version, he was the good man, the brave one, the one who had tried his best while his wife fell apart. In his story, their daughter slipped away quietly, and he had done all he could. The wife sat back and let the anger rise. He hadn't just lied. He had destroyed her image to make himself look clean. He had covered every part of the truth. He didn't just leave her behind. He tried to erase her completely. She didn't answer the woman right away. There was nothing else to say. The screenshots had already done their job. The truth was out. The mask had slipped. Now, someone else had seen who he really was. And that was only the beginning. At home, she stopped asking questions. She stopped talking about the past. She acted quiet, slow, and lost. She let him think she was falling apart. Some days, she sat in silence. Other days, she just stared out the window. When he spoke, she nodded. When he looked at her, she looked away. He believed it. He thought she was weak. He thought she was done fighting. He walked around like everything was normal, like nothing was wrong. He smiled more, even started planning trips again. He had no idea she was watching everything. Behind the scenes, she was careful. She made a phone call and met with a private investigator. She showed him what she had, the papers, the emails, the messages. He listened closely and agreed to help. From that moment on, every move her husband made was recorded. His calls, his bank activity, his meetings, all tracked. The investigator found things quickly. Her husband had been hiding money. Large amounts. He had opened fake companies with fake names. They weren't real businesses. They were just names on paper, used to move money around. Some of the accounts were overseas. It looked like he was preparing to disappear. She wanted to see for herself. Late one night, while he was asleep, she opened his laptop. She had learned his passwords by watching him. Slowly, carefully, she searched through his files. One folder stood out. It had her daughter's name on it. Inside were pictures of hospital medical charts, scans, reports with dates and doctor notes. But what made her stomach turn were the emails connected to them. He had sent the files to a lawyer, not for a custody case, not for family matters. He was building a case against the hospital. In the messages, he said the doctors had made mistakes, that they didn't act fast enough, that they were the reason his daughter died. He wanted to sue, and he wanted more money. He was using her daughter's illness, not just for insurance, but for another payout, another excuse to collect cash and walk away clean. He hadn't even told her. She wasn't listed anywhere in the emails. He had planned it all behind her back. She sat still in the dark, reading every word. It was clear now. Her husband wasn't just a liar. He was a planner. Every step was quiet, careful, and cruel. While she had been grieving, he had been preparing. For money, for freedom, for a new life. But what he didn't know was that she had already started her own plan. And she wasn't going to warn him. She created a new email and a new name. A different photo. A fake job title. She became someone else, someone far from the woman he once knew. She made an account on a business site and reached out to him, acting like she wanted to invest in his company. He replied right away. He liked attention. He liked talking about money. He didn't know he was talking to his own wife. She acted curious and impressed. She asked questions about his business. He shared details easily. He wanted to look smart. He talked too much, and she listened carefully. He told the fake woman about the lawsuit he was planning. He said he had proof the hospital was careless. He called it an easy win. He said he would get a big payment and then leave the country. He didn't say it with guilt. He said it with pride. She saved every word. They moved their talks to phone calls. She used a voice changer. He never noticed. She hit record on every call. Each time he spoke, the truth came out more. He talked about hiding money, about the accounts he set up, about how no one would catch him. One night, he said something that stayed with her. "She's too broken to fight me," he said. "She still thinks the world works on justice." She listened to that part over and over. It didn't hurt her. It gave her strength. He thought she was weak. He thought she would give up. He didn't know what she had already done behind the scenes. She saved every voice note, every message, every file. She backed them up in different places, sent copies to the private investigator, and kept one for herself. She made sure nothing could be deleted or lost. She was quiet, careful, and ready. He thought he was in control. He had no idea he was walking into a trap. Every lie he told the fake woman, every detail he gave, became part of the truth she was collecting. The same truth he tried so hard to hide. She didn't rush. She stayed patient. She let him keep talking, keep sharing, keep lying. The more he said, the more he gave away. And the more he gave, the closer she came to the moment she had been waiting for. He thought she was finished. He thought she was broken. But she was building something. And soon he would see it all. She waited for the right time. She made sure she had everything saved and backed up. Emails, phone calls, voice messages. Every single piece of proof was ready. She didn't put her name on anything. She wanted him to feel it all come down without knowing where it started. She sent the first set of files to his company. Not just the emails or recordings, but also copies of the fake businesses, the hidden bank accounts, and the plan to sue the hospital. She didn't write a message. The files spoke for themselves. Next, she sent the same information to the FBI. She added the forged life insurance paper. She showed how he signed her name without permission. She included dates, bank transfers, and the plan to leave the country. She marked it clearly: insurance fraud and financial deception. Then she contacted the hospital. She sent the emails he had written, the copies of the medical records he had sent to his lawyer, and the lawsuit plan he had explained over the phone. She knew the hospital would not take it lightly. He wanted to use their name for money, and now they would know the truth. Last, she sent everything to the woman he had been lying to. The one from the yacht. She didn't say much. Just pictures, voice messages, and the full story. The truth he never told her. The woman didn't reply, but her social media vanished the next day. After that, she found a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, but one who knew how to deal with people like him. Someone who handled divorce cases with hidden money, false business records, and lies meant to trap the other partner. The lawyer listened to her story and said, "We'll take everything." Papers were drawn up quickly. The lawyer moved fast. She wanted the divorce to be official, clean, and strong. No room for tricks. She gave them the airport details from the private investigator. They knew exactly when and where he would be. He was leaving again. Another trip. Another lie. But this time, he didn't make it past the gate. He was walking through security when a man in a suit stepped in front of him and handed him the papers. He was being served. Right there, in front of strangers. Divorce, legal action, and warnings from federal agents. Everything in one thick envelope. He froze. He didn't understand what was happening at first. Then he opened the papers and started to read. His smile faded. His face turned pale. People walked by, but he stood still, holding the documents, too shocked to move. He thought he had fooled everyone. He thought no one would ever know. But the truth had caught up. The dominoes had started to fall, and nothing could stop them now. Everything started falling apart for him fast. First, his company froze all his accounts. They locked his emails and blocked his access to work system. He tried calling people, but no one answered. He showed up at the office, but security told him to leave. His name was now under review for fraud. His co-workers looked at him like they didn't know him. Then news began spreading online. The woman he had lied to posted a video. She sat in front of the camera and spoke with tears in her eyes. She said he tricked her. Said he told her his wife was unstable and his daughter had died peacefully. She said he used her. She showed messages, screenshots, and his voice on recordings. Her video went viral. It spread across TikTok and Instagram. People shared it everywhere. They called him names in the comments. They didn't feel sorry for him. They were angry, and they were loud. Soon, people made jokes and memes about him. One video showed him on the yacht with the caption, "Yacht Daddy caught in daughter death scam." Others used screenshots of his messages and added fake music in the background. He became a meme. People laughed, but not because it was funny, because they were disgusted. More and more stories came out. People who once worked with him said he had always seemed too smooth, too fake. Some said he bragged about getting around rules. One person posted that he used to joke about always having a way out. Now no one was laughing. While the internet was burning with his name, she stayed quiet. She didn't post anything herself, but she sent one thing to a news blog, an old voicemail. It was short. His voice was clear. He had said, "We never should have had her." That was all it took. The voicemail spread like fire. People could hear the coldness in his voice. It didn't sound like a father. It sounded like someone talking about a problem, not a child. The words hit people hard. Parents, strangers, even people who didn't know the full story. Everyone felt it. The comments turned harsh. People called him heartless. Some said he should be in jail. Others wanted the hospital and the government to take action. His face was everywhere, and not for the reasons he wanted. He couldn't hide anymore. He couldn't explain his way out. He turned off his phone. He deleted his social media. But it was too late. His name was already out there, tied to every lie, every dollar, every awful word he had said. He thought no one would ever know. But now the whole world did. She stayed quiet while the world talked about him. She didn't try to explain anything. She let the internet do what it does. But she wasn't finished. There was still more to reveal, and she knew exactly where to go next. With the help of the private investigator, she looked deeper into his business life. They followed the money. One name kept showing up again and again, something that looked like a charity for sick children. On paper, it looked kind. It had a nice website with photos of kids and words about helping families in need. But none of it was real. The investigator found that the charity didn't help anyone. There were no events, no real staff, no medical bills paid. It was just a shell, a fake cover. That was where he had moved the insurance money. He had used the charity to make it look like donations were coming in, but it was all his way of hiding money. Money that came from his own daughter's death. She took all the documents and called his old business partners. Some of them had already heard about the scandal online. They were angry and scared. Their names were tied to his company, and now they could lose everything. She didn't scream or beg. She showed them proof. Emails, bank transfers, fake invoices. It was all there. And slowly, one by one, they turned against him. They gave more information. They gave access to files. They told the truth because they didn't want to go down with him. Soon, the news picked it up. A charity scam involving a child's death. Hidden money. Fake companies. The headlines were everywhere. People couldn't believe how far he had gone just to protect himself and his lies. The public outcry got louder. People were shocked, angry, disgusted. It wasn't just a broken marriage anymore. It was a crime. People wanted action. His name, once quiet and unknown, was now a warning. Then came her final move. She wrote an article. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was honest. It had one title. "I was married to a monster. Here's how I buried my daughter and my husband at the same time." She told her side. Not with hate, but with truth. She wrote about the pain, the betrayal, the silence in the house, the lies she found, and the moment she stopped being afraid. She wrote about the day she found the fake signature, the voice message, and the empty yacht photo. She explained how she watched him fall apart without ever touching him, how truth did the work. The article spread fast. People shared it with tears in their eyes. Some said it gave them strength. Some said they finally understood what silence can hide. She didn't write it to make noise. She wrote it to close the story. And when she pressed publish, she finally felt free. She walked slowly through the quiet cemetery. The wind was soft, the sky cloudy. She carried 2 roses in her hand. Her steps were steady, but her heart was full. Not of anger now, but something deeper, something quieter. She reached her daughter's resting place and knelt down. She placed the first rose gently in front of the stone. It was pink, just like the ones her daughter used to love. She closed her eyes for a moment and breathed in the silence. A part of her would always stay there, with the little girl she loved more than anything. Then she placed the second rose. This one was for someone else, for the woman she used to be. The one who believed, who trusted, who forgave too easily. The one who stayed quiet when she should have spoken. That version of herself was gone, and that rose was a goodbye. She stood up and wiped her hand. She didn't cry. The tears had already come and gone. What she felt now was not sadness, it was peace. It wasn't a happy ending, but it was hers. She walked back to her car. No one was waiting for her, and that was okay. She didn't need saving. Not anymore. She drove for hours. The city faded behind her. The noise, the lies, the courtroom papers, all of it. She didn't look back. The road ahead was open, and for the first time in a long time, it felt real. She reached the coast just before sunset. The waves were slow. The sky was turning gold. She stepped out of the car and let the sea breeze touch her face. She didn't come to hide. She didn't come to escape. She came to live. The wind brushed her hair. She stood still, calm and strong. And in her mind, she heard the words he once said. She's too broken to fight. She smiled, not with joy but with truth. Then she whispered to herself, I was too broken not to. If you believe in finding strength after heartbreak, in uncovering truth with quiet determination, and in turning pain into power, share this story with someone who needs hope today. Remember, real strength isn't loud. It listens, it learns, it rises, just like she did. Leave a comment with your thoughts. Like and follow for more true stories that reveal, heal, and empower.